What up, everyone? It's BackCourt Violation and Jet Central giving you one last video. I just want to give a huge shout out to my dude Jet Central. Want to say thanks for doing these videos with me today. It's been a great time. So last video we're doing for the day. So let's just get right into it. What do you think's gonna happen with Karl Anthony Towns? I've been seeing, it looks like he might be going to Phoenix. What are your thoughts on that?
That's like the big question. I feel like it's going to be such a big domino heading up to the draft, and it's kind of cool because compared to the NFL, I like how the NBA has their things like legitimately right after the finals. The draft is I think it's in less than 20 days now.
Yeah, it's like the 22nd or something like that.
Yeah, so I love it how it's set up like that. Like it doesn't stall at all.
Yeah.
So pretty much a decision has to be made soon about Anthony Towns. Are they going to keep him? Are they going to trade him?
Mm-hmm.
I personally think at the end of the day that they're going to keep him.
Me too.
Just because I feel like it's just it'll be too much of a production. He was the number one pick. What, 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
Yeah, it'd be 3 this year, yeah.
I mean, and you're already moving this guy just because of like a simple... he
doesn't have a Thibodeau problem, straight up.
Yeah, he doesn't have like an off-the-court issue at all. He's
great guy.
Yeah, he's never really been in trouble. I believe teammates like him.
Yeah, I mean, he's always smiling on the court. I'll say that much. That says something.
Yeah, he's a good, talented player.
Yeah.
I like Anthony Towns. I mean, I'm not as high on him as a lot of people, including you are.
And I'm just gonna say this. And this is like being unbiased because I like Embiid and Porzingis better than I like Cat. I like Cat better than I like Boogie. But I think Embiid and Porzingis are definitely better at their position.
Yeah, I feel like they're more of franchise cornerstones. Like when you think of Knicks, you think of Porzingis.
Yeah.
When you think of the Sixers, you have Simmons and Embiid. When you think of the Timberwolves, it's kind of like a
couple different
Jimmy Butler, Thibodeau, Wiggins. Yeah. So it begs the question: what's the problem here? Like why if you draft a guy number 1 or really in the top 5, you expect this guy to be a contributing player for the next 10 seasons. Like that's you don't pick a guy in the top 5 and say, okay, we're going to trade this guy in 3 years. That's not really how it kind of goes down. So what's the problem here? What do you think the main problem is for Anthony Towns?
The main problem, truthfully, is as much as I love the guy, I love to play for him, but I think Thibodeau's the problem. I think, he's running his players into the ground. That was the thing. That was the problem in Chicago. Was he's playing his starters 40 minutes a game, and then they get hurt like a deep. Truthfully, Thibodeau's the reason Derrick Rose has no knees. I don't. When you see a players are tired, take them out. That's what bench players are for. He had Shabazz Muhammad on the... Shabazz Muhammad is a pure scorer. I'll give you. He may not be great, and he may not be able to do a whole lot else, but he's a pure scorer. That man can be a mini Melo. Come off the bench and do something. And he was not being used. They let him... They didn't even trade him. They let him go. So, but I just think it's one of those things where Karl Anthony Towns, this new age of players our age, it's more about, they want to win, but they want to have fun. They want their name to be known. They want the money to be made. It's not how it was 10, 15, 20 years ago where it was all about winning and, if you're not going to win, there's going to be a fight. So I think with Cat's thing is, he wasn't performing well in the first round of the playoffs. It is what it is. It's not a knock on the guy. First time in the playoffs, you had your jitters. It's fine. But you don't need to just say, oh, I gotta go. It's not gonna work out here. No. It could very well work out. We'll stay with Minnesota for this analogy. Kevin Garnett came in the league at 18 years old and had 8 points a game his rookie year. It's not nothing. Mm-hmm. But he turned into KG in Minnesota, so it can be done. It's all about the mindset. You just got to be mentally strong and that just get through the bad playoff slump. And
it's like getting through the adversity. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I feel like a problem is with today's players. Whether it's in the NFL or in the NBA, is that it's like these guys were the man in high school. They're the man in college. Then they're high draft picks. And then I feel like where it's different from like old school, like 80s and even early 90s to today, is that you have social media. So if you're a stud back in the day in 1985, wherever you went to high school, the attention that you got is not as big as it was today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have high school
no
players.
Social media.
You have like a high school point guard who's like a beast and whatever. He's going to go to go play ball at wherever, Michigan State or UCLA, and this guy has like 1 million followers on his social media
before he sets foot on a college campus.
Yeah, so it's all this attention really early on with a lot of, I believe, entitlement and a lot of things being given to them early on. And so when they hit the NBA...
Spoon-fed.
Yeah, when they hit the NBA... And I'm not speaking for every player like this, because, once in a blue moon, you'll find one of those, like, grinder, like, 80s style players.
Yeah, a Tony Allen type guy.
Yeah. And, you'll find it, you'll come across some of those guys. But as far as, the majority of today's players...
Are whiners.
Yeah, that come into the NBA, I would say in the last 5-6 seasons, because even like the 03 class with LeBron and Melo,
I would even say since LeBron, truthfully.
Yeah, like I don't even view them though as like it's not working, I need to leave, because we're struggling in the first time we ever made the playoffs.
Yeah. I meant the whining aspect.
Okay,
LeBron's generation is the one that brought that in here.
That's
what I think.
Yeah, so I just feel like that's kind of the majority of a lot of the younger players that are coming in the league now. And when adversity hits early on in their careers, it's just like complete.
What's the first time they ever dealt with it? Period.
Yeah, because like I said, like that's high school was a breeze, college was a breeze, high draft pick, a lot of money. Usually, if you're a high draft pick, you are getting promised certain things like you're going to be the franchise and this and that. But I just find that I find it kind of sad in a way that like once crap hits the fan, everyone wants to panic and move and like, okay, what are we what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Back in the day,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, teams just kept plugging away and really just kept pounding.
Yeah.
Kind of like what the Raptors are doing now. They just like throw the same team out there.
I loved it. Like, and I felt they shouldn't. God, you got to feel bad for the Raptors, but I love what they did. They were persistent. They were like, yo, it's not us. We can do it. Now we know it's you.
Yeah, well, it's
but
really
they
LeBron,
tried.
But...
They're the only. They might be the only organization to really try that.
Yeah, and just like, kept plugging away and just saying, we're going to get better as a unit. We're going to get more chemistry. Yeah. We're all going to get better at the sport of basketball together. Yeah. Not relying on, if we lose one round of the playoffs, just blowing the whole thing up and like needing to make drastic changes. So, reeling it back to Anthony Towns, it's just kind of annoying to see like after one, playoff appearance, it's like all hell's breaking loose and like everything needs to change. Like, the Timberwolves have great players.
They do.
They have a nice coaching staff.
Yeah.
They're
the best
youthful
defensive
bunch.
Coach in the game.
They're a youthful bunch. It's not like they're on the brink of their stars retiring or anything like that.
Yeah.
No one's really under. Jimmy Butler is supposed to be there for a while. Mm-hmm. Anthony Towns, Wiggins just signed his deal, like we were talking about before.
Yeah. Well, they're all there for at least another 3 years together.
Yeah. So
without trades. But
yeah, like it's okay to kind of take your lumps and to really just take your medicine at first.
And it just what was Cat thinking that they were going to make the title? Like I'm just curious because you don't make it your rookie season. Fine, that's cool. Not a whole lot of superstars can actually. No one's LeBron James, and LeBron. I don't even think LeBron made the playoffs his rookie year. Yeah. So I don't know what he was. And then, do you really think you were going to upset the 1 seed? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, I understand you're upset that the season ended, and I love that about Cat. But let's not be over dramatic here. You're in a great situation. This is the first time, truthfully, since what? So 2007, that the Timberwolves have been good. So over a decade, and you just want to do that to the fans?
Yeah,
I'm not cool with that. I understand Thibodeau's not the easiest to get along with. I get that. So if he's the problem, fine. I can understand you want to be traded over that, but you shouldn't want to be traded over losing your first playoff series ever. You've been in the league 2 years, dude. Get over that. But what I really want to touch on is, there's a whole lot of talks around him going to Phoenix. So I'm just interested what you think would how it would have to go down, because obviously the way I imagine it is they got to trade the first pick plus a young player. And if I'm getting... So, you pretty much be traded center for center. I imagine if the Timberwolves got the first pick, they would just replace Cat with Ayton. They need a center. Center's available. So, but I mean, who would be that extra young player you throw in there? Because it'd have to work money-wise.
To be honest with you, I don't think they would have to give up a young player. I would say...
Just straight up.
Straight up. Number 1 pick for Karl Anthony Towns. I think that's a fair trade.
It's a fair trade, especially since they're getting Ayton.
Because sorry to cut you off. I didn't mean to do that. But if Phoenix says, screw it, we don't want Anthony Towns, they'll be fine. They have the number 1 pick. They can pick Ayton. Still. So I think it's going to be it's going to be Minnesota picking up the phone. If they're trying to move him, or if Cat wants to leave, they're going to be the team that's saying, Phoenix, what can we do to make this work?
Wow.
I think Phoenix is going to be sitting back with their feet up saying, Minnesota, you come to me now.
So you're thinking that it's going to be Cat plus somebody else.
Not like Cat plus Jimmy Butler, but just maybe like Cat plus a second rounder, or like Cat plus a...
Okay. No, that's...
Because if you're Phoenix, what do you have to gain out of that? Like Minnesota, I don't envision Phoenix saying, picking up the phone, like desperately trying to contact teams and saying, we need Karl Anthony Towns, when we have a center worthy of the number 1 pick right there for them.
The reason I think Phoenix is actually really considering this is a couple reasons. Number 1, Booker and Cat, they play together in Kentucky. They are best friends. Like, legitimately, it's like the John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins thing. They want to play together. They're thoroughly best friends outside the court. And in today's NBA, we've been talking about, earlier we were talking about Hassan Whiteside. We talked about DeMarcus Cousins. All these players that just, malcontents, you know what I mean? So you want to keep your players happy. And that's something that the Heat are struggling with Hassan. And the Pelicans haven't done anything wrong. That's just Boogie's problem. But if you want to keep your best player happy, and we're talking Phoenix right now, so that's Devin Booker, what better way to make him happy than get his best friend? He's already said, because Booker's already come out and said, this year, the one that just happened, is the last time he will never not be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So,
well, Phoenix has the young talent to do that. You look at Jackson and Bender.
Man, I don't even... Yeah, even with another year older with all these kids, I don't know if they can make the playoffs next year. Because Denver didn't make it this year.
Yeah, I feel like Anthony Towns will be a more of a kind of like an instant success with Phoenix, because this guy's a baller, right? But if they miss the playoffs, God forbid if the Suns miss the playoffs, is Anthony Towns going to want to leave there too?
Could you imagine?
I mean, because realistically, being honest, Anthony Towns is going to a worse team. And if being on a bad team...
More talented, but worse, for sure.
If being on a bad team is the reason why Anthony Towns wants to leave... Yeah. I mean...
I don't think it's the players in Minnesota. I really think it's Thibodeau is the reason he wants... Because I know that's why Wiggins isn't really working out there. Because I know...
Well, Wiggins is a whole...
Yeah, that's just a different conundrum. But I don't know. I mean... It just... It's tough. Yeah, it is tough. But I would think it would be pretty cool to see Cat in...
D. Booker.
Yeah, suit up together one more time. Just like I said earlier, I'd like to see John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins do it. But I don't know, man. I mean, and that's the thing. Does Phoenix even make... All right, so say that trade happens, right? Mm-hmm. And he is a Sun. Does that even put them in the playoffs? Because you would imagine Minnesota would be taking Ayton, number 1, to get the center. So they pretty much stay status quo, and they were a playoff team. I'm just interested because Denver, obviously, with a whole year with Paul Millsap, even though he's a year older, you'd imagine they'd make the playoffs. Gary Harris is a year older, Jamal Murray the year better. Would Phoenix make the playoffs?
I think they would have a similar year of a Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
A team that maybe,
first team to not make it, right?
Maybe they're not playing on a on a one game make it or break it kind of game. Like, I'm not saying it's going to come down to one last thing, but I could see them being in it until maybe the last month of the season and kind of tailing off.
Okay.
The top dog starting to pull away a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with
But
that.
if that's the case, Phoenix is the worst team in the league, record-wise.
Are they worse than Atlanta?
Record-wise.
Oh, my God. That's bad.
Like they have the number 1 pick, you know what I'm saying?
True. Oh, yeah.
So, record-wise, they have nowhere to go but up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if they barely miss the playoffs, that's a huge step in the right direction.
Well, the draft's not like football.
Yeah, I guess.
in NBA, which I think this is the last year of that, if I'm not mistaken.
The lottery?
Yeah, I think it's the last year of the lottery, or the second, something like that. They're getting rid of it. Anyway, it's
but the Suns had the highest chance of winning the first pick.
So then they did have the worst record.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like talent-wise and like putting it all together.
How did they have a worse record than Atlanta or Chicago?
Well, they're
Dallas.
in a tougher conference.
Dallas, oh my gosh, that's just tougher conference for sure. But how did Dallas have more wins than them?
Don't know.
I don't know, but that pretty much sums it up, guys. We don't know what's going on with that situation, and I guess that obviously they don't either. But it's definitely good stuff to talk about. So if you got anything else you guys want us to talk about, hear what we got to say on, let us know in the comment section. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we'll be back with other videos later. You guys have a good one.